Guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Monday morning. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Monday, guys. So I want to jump on really quickly, and I want to chat with you guys about the winning season blues. The winning season blues, as well as a couple of other things that may pop up in my spirit. So this morning, I saw on Pastor R.C. Blake's Instagram, he was speaking about certain things that you will experience that are extremely dangerous in the winning season. A few of those things, but I think two that's popping into my head right now is how you will discover some individuals most close to you being unmasked, as well as being sure not to forget about God, right? By praying less, etc., once the doors open. Of course, taking pride in whatever is really manifesting in your life. So I want to speak about a couple of those things. It's like either it's going to happen prior to your open door, or it's going to happen in the season once the door opens. So it's almost like those of you who do not allow God to do what he's doing currently before the door opens, meaning you're fighting against everything he's doing versus being obedient to your convictions for different reasons. Of course, it's hard. It's hard as heck. Let's be real here. So when God starts, if you feel like God is starting to strip you, he's starting to convict you to pull away from certain people. He's convicting you to pull away from certain environments. He's convicting you to relocate, etc. Well, if you're fighting against that process, what could potentially happen is that door is still going to open, and it's going to happen when you're in the season, due season. So either you're going to allow God to really help you to prune these things now, which will be easier, not easy, but more easy while you have the grace for it to happen, versus you getting there and people being unmasked when you get there, versus you forgetting to acknowledge God every step of the way when you're there, versus you get too prideful and then you mess around and take a big fall while you're in the middle of due season, and you're going to get thrown all the way back down. So I remember there were a couple of things that God had spoken to me. One of those things was so very profoundly, same thing here when we're talking about Pastor R.C. Blake said, that God told me this years ago. When due season approaches, it is going to be crucial to stay connected. The minute you unplug, every single thing that you work hard for will be gone. Because it's almost like we're kicking and crying and screaming to get up out of transformation seasons and isolation seasons in the wilderness. But God knows why he has to do it. In our minds, we really think, well, God, if you open the door tomorrow, I'm not going to change. God, if you open the door tomorrow, I'm going to still keep you first. God, if you open the door tomorrow, I'm going to still pray. I'm going to still worship. God, when you open the door tomorrow, I'm not going to conform to the room. Like, you really feel this in your mind. And I mean, you really mean it. You really mean it when you say it. But you don't even know what's all there. God knows what's all there. So you're making these promises based on what your flesh is saying to you, based on what your flesh is telling you what's on the other side. But God knows what's on the other side. And the higher and higher that God allows me to elevate spiritually, I understand 100% why he makes us wait and why he allows some things to unfold regardless if we want them to or not. When God starts placing some of you in certain rooms, when God starts releasing your kingdom partners, when God starts to give you that business that you want, do you know how much warfare is going to come with that? That was another thing that actually I wanted to speak on that left my mind when I was when I first started talking. Let me let me tell you, right? And it's not to say that anybody's ungrateful, right? I think I heard this year, probably about 5-6 years ago, I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes talk about this. And that was how the time the door opens, so whatever you're waiting on, let it be success or this or this or that. By the time that door opens, you're so beat up. You're so beat up from all the spiritual attacks. You're beat up from the delays. You're beat up from everything that comes with it, right? The heartbreaks, the frustrations, all this stuff. That by the time that door open, not to say that you're ungrateful, because you still recognize, like, wow, what God said, it really is, period, right? So you're excited, but it's something where it's so hard to have that excitement that you once had when you first heard the revelation. So it's like you're excited, but it's something, God takes that fleshly part of the excitement away, because if you stay too giddy for too long, right? Let's just say he didn't take the excitement away and he opens the door and you're still all like, crazy giddy. You're going to disconnect spiritually, because there's nothing for you to stay grounded to. You're just celebrating. But no, by the time you get there, you're going to be so tired. You're going to be so worn out from the waiting season, the wilderness season, all that stuff, that when you get there, you're going to be to a posture where God will have you to recognize, wow, God is amazing, right? You're going to have a couple of days to really have that giddy feeling, but boom, back to reality. Because once you get there, right, that's just one part, right? You attained it. Now it's time to sustain it, which is a whole nother level by itself. So here you arrive at due season and you're sitting here thinking like, oh, this is all said and done. It's done. It's done. There's no more No, there's different levels in due season. So now God have to really, really now condition you and test you to be sure that you're not going to forget about him. So you might get a test the minute you introduce season. You just introduced season last month. One level of due season last month. And it's like, boom, an attack. And it's like, I barely just sat down and grab a glass of water. Like, now I'm under attack again, right? Because I want to be sure that you're behind, stay connected, right? That you don't forget to pray the same level of prayers that you were praying when you were waiting. So yes, I'm going to hit you with an attack. Yes, I'm going to hit you with some frustration. Yes, I'm going to hit you with some delays. Yes, I'm going to hurt your feelings. All because I have to remind you, don't get too comfortable. And you're like, you're just like, I thought I would get here and just rest, right? Just rest. Like, yeah, you going to rest, but you going to pass these tests first, right? I got to really see, are you really ready, right? You say you're ready. I think you're ready, but let's just see. So he's going to throw some temptation your way, right? He's going to throw some heartbreak your way. All this stuff that just makes you understand that you got to stay connected to God. But God said it clear as day to me years and years and years ago. The minute you unplug, if you don't stay connected, regardless of what you think now, listen, you're going right back to level 1. So those of you who are really fighting against your process, which is a lot of you guys, from reading my emails, is either you're going to allow God to do it now, or it's going to happen there. Because there are some people around you, and sadly, some of these are the people who you love the most, who's going to break your heart. They're going to be unmasked. You're going to start to realize that God is starting to really put things in your face, things that were there all along, but again, you missed it, right? God is going to really start allowing some people to show you their true colors. This is the time you're going to have to be intentional, because God is doing this thing for a reason. Either you're going to allow him to move these people now, break your heart now, remove these people now, or it's going to happen when you get to due season, because the people got to go, point blank period. They're going one way or another. They're going prior to you getting there, or they're going to cross you when you get there. And that's going to be way more difficult then. Some of you who feel like, and my God, you feel like God had promised you this spouse and this partner, and you are still refusing to put the work, and you're still refusing to do the things that God had told you to do. Why in the world will God bring anybody to you and you're still struggling in areas with him? So God has told you certain things to do and you won't even do it. God has told you to go to counseling. I mean, you know you need to be healed. You know, and you acknowledge that that ex hurt you or broke you down so bad, and that you're still carrying some of that residue, which is natural. Cool. We're human. But the point is, how in the world is God going to release somebody to you and you're still dealing with that? So he's been telling you to go get help. He's been telling you to press in more. But it's just like people really think, like people are annoyed with God, thinking that it's God who's holding things back from them. And God is not holding anything back. He just can't release it to you because you're going to mess it up. Due season, that's about long-term forever blessings. So you're used to being in relationships or whatever that lasts for a year, 2 years and fall off. That doesn't happen in due season. These are long-term blessings that God is trying to give to you. So he can't release certain things when you're being disobedient. God is telling you and convicting you to move certain people out of your life, including some of your own blood. God is telling you, he's allowing strife to happen. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it breaks your heart, because in those seasons, you're already struggling anyway, right? You're struggling spiritually anyway, because it's like God's just not moving quick enough, or you just don't feel safe because the foundation is so shaky because you don't know what God is doing. So you're already going through your own spiritual struggles. So it's almost like you want to hang on to anybody just because they're toxic, but at least you know there's some kind of foundation. So it's comfortable here. Yeah, they're toxic, but it's comfortable and it feels safe because I don't feel too safe right now spiritually, because I don't know what God is doing. That God is telling you that this person is a whole narcissist. God is telling you that this person doesn't like you. God is telling you that this person is using their child as a pawn against you. God is telling you that this person has a spirit of jealousy and envious, and you're allowing that person in your house, around your man, around your wife, right? God is telling you that the child you raise is just as toxic as somebody who's jealous of you on the street, right? God is telling you all this stuff, but it's like, his blood is thicker than water. It's conditioning. I mean, at the end of the day, guess what? Guess what? We didn't choose family. It was given to us. We didn't choose family. It was given to us. And truth be told, if we could have choose, we would not have choose some of the individuals within our family. Speaking in general here now, not my family or even your family. I'm speaking as a whole. You would not even have picked some of the cousins, some of the siblings, some of the this. You would not have picked them because your mindset is completely different. Remember, you're set apart. So you would have probably picked some people who are considered to be your soul tribe, versus the ones that were just given to you, because the ones that were given to you sometimes don't have the same type of loyalty factors, right? Integrity, et cetera. And now you're so frustrated because it's like, I just don't understand. I raised this child. I just don't understand. I grew up in a household with this cousin and we were like sisters and brothers. So I thought, I just don't understand. Why are these people so disloyal? Because you didn't choose them. They were given to you. So we got to start changing our mindsets, right? We got to start unlearning the things that we were conditioned to learn. God will start to send you people in your new season who are way more loyal than your own blood sometimes. God will give you literally a whole new family. It's going to be a very small, it needs to be, right? Some of y'all are used to having 30 people around y'all every day. It ain't going to look like that due season. It's going to be a very, very small, tight-knitted circle. So this is why God is allowing people to convict you, hurt you, because these are people that God have shown you. Truth be told, if you're honest, God have shown you things about these people, right? About that person before. But no, us and these little beautiful hearts, and well, I mean, maybe they didn't mean it that way. Right. Maybe they're just going through a bad time. Maybe they're just, they got a little bit of envy because, they're going through divorce this season. Maybe I'm just, but your spirit don't lie. So your spirit already sold you. You got a conviction somewhere along the line, right? More times than one, if you're honest. But now God is not allowing you to ignore the conviction. It's boom, right in your face. Right in your face. Since you ignored the convictions all along, for whatever reason, maybe distractions, maybe whatever, right? Since you ignored it all this time, now I'm going to put it right in your face. Because it's done. It's done. There's no going back. I'm only taking you forward. So I'm taking you to the people who are your soul tribes, right? I'm taking you to do seasons that blessings are going to bless your head off. And I don't want these people to be a part of it for different reasons. They don't even honor and respect you. Why would you want people to celebrate a season with you and these people don't even honor and respect you at level 1? So we want to make it. We want to be in due season. We want all these blessings, and we want to look around and see the same people who've violated us, who've hurt us, who've used us, who don't even care, don't even like you. Some probably don't even love you. But you wanna reach a celebration, pivotal point, a boom, explosion, due season, and look around, and all the people around you in the room is the people who've hurt you and violated you in one way or another. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It's conditioning. Where in fact, that room should be people that you found along the journey, right? These are people that God placed in your path for whatever reasons. These are people that you met who are connected some way to your destiny, right? They're destiny helpers, your soul tribes, etc., etc. And of course, a couple of individuals from your prior seasons, right? As well as some family and friends. But a few. But you want 300 of the family members there. Same thing with weddings. I don't know why this is picking up. Same thing with weddings. You want a wedding with 300 people just to show them what? And now you're trying to figure out why in the world you're going through warfare in the marriage one weekend when you really should still be in the honeymoon stage. You're going through warfare. You got all those spirits up in your child, please. Nope. Ain't happening. You got to be careful, guys. You got to understand. When you're chosen, when you've answered that call, again, whatever that call is, that's just however God wants to use you. It's not church for everybody, right? However God wants to use you. For people can see the light of God through you in whatever way. When you answer that call, you're also saying no to many things in your prior season. So those of you who are struggling, and you're still struggling, and you can't understand why God is stripping you of things, why God is stripping you of people, it has to happen. You can no longer, including mindsets, you can no longer operate on the level that you operated before the call. So God has to transform you. The transforming season feels like God is truly punishing you because you feel like he's just taking things from you. He has to take these things in order to transform you with a different mindset, but he will send you things way better. People, places, and things. He will send you these things after your healing season, after your transformation season. These things will come back times 5. But you got to let him do what he wants to do. And I know that's easier said than done, right? You got to let him do what he wants to do, because if it doesn't happen now, it's going to happen there. I thank God, now that I think back on it, I thank God that my obedience override my emotions when there were certain things that he was calling me to do. And not to say I did it on the first time, right? Most things, yeah, but there were a couple of things, if I'm honest, that I just, listen, some of them things are hard to just walk away from or just let go. And like, even though it's toxic, you're comfortable, right? So again, he will snatch that rug. So even when he snatches the rug, you still got a choice. You still can make your head hard and try to keep going back. You're just going to keep getting a red light, right? But the point is, you can stay for 3 years trying to get back to what he's taken. Or you can have an aha moment through that broken heart and say, all right, God, I don't know what in the world you're doing, but I'm going to trust you. And you will then realize at some point, once you grieve, right, whatever he's removing, especially if it's narc abuse, because the narc had such a hold on you and they already depleted you so much emotionally that, as crazy as it sounds, you want to cling on and hold on to the thing that hurt you the most. That's how they already got that grip in you. So God's going to start hitting you. If it's a narc, he's going to start hitting you with certain things. I don't care if you got money tied up in the business. Leave. I don't care how much you love the kids. Leave. I don't care how much, leave. I don't care how much, leave. Right? And that's the thing. All he give you is leave. So what keeps people frantic almost is because he's not saying leave, but I'm going to give you this. Leave, but I'm going to give you a strategic way. Leave. He just says leave. So a lot of people will stay because they don't even realize that once you grieve that leaving process, God is going to give you clear strategy on how to, okay, let's just say it's money you got tied up with the ex or whatever. God is going to give you clear strategy on how to either override certain things and get your money out on the low and the person don't even know it, right? God may allow something to happen where, and see, all these things are supernatural, where the person does something and ruin their name or something crazy they do, and then the bank calls you and say, hey, this person name is off of this stuff. What do you want us to do? And you're like, give it all to me. Or God may say, I don't want you to have any of it because I don't want any ties, no spiritual ties, nothing connected with this person. So leave it, take zero, but I'm going to give you a strategic, witty idea and invention that's going to triple that amount of money that you had in that bank, but it's going to be on the back end in a different way. If they're holding the kids against you, once you get through that grieving process, God will give you a download. God will say, listen, I know it's hurting you, but I can't have you in bondage. It's bondage. Leave. But all children grow up. They'll learn the truth. Right? Leave, but you're really doing the child more good, because if you stay and that child constantly sees mom and dad constantly fighting and going at it, you're the same curse of trauma that you're trying to break. You're introducing your child to it. So let your heart break, because in reality, you would rather the child have a better chance at life by not being traumatized all of their lives, right? Versus you having to have a heartbreak and God processing that thing for a few weeks or a few months, etc., etc. You'll mess around. God is, see, this is why you got to understand the supernatural realm, because the fleshly realm, it'll almost be impossible for anybody to make logical sense of, well, God, you're saying leave, but how in the world is this going to work? I don't understand. God is supernatural. So you will mess around and you leave. You got a baby mama who's literally, I mean, and seriously, you're a great dad, but she's mad because you moved on and she's really using that child against you and using that child as leverage. You can't see the child or not inviting you to certain functions for the child and keeping you away from all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But truth be told, your heart is right and you've been doing things the right way. God will mess around and let that female, your baby mama, lose custody of that child, right? And before you know it, somebody's calling you to tell you to come get your child. We need you to take full custody. Supernatural. You didn't see that happening because they were probably a great mom. You didn't see it happening, right? But let toxic people do what they do because God always have a plan on the back end. Your job is just to be obedient to, to the conviction. Your job is not to sit there and try to figure out, well, God, if I leave, what. He ain't going to tell you. Most times, he ain't going to tell you. He'll tell you once you're obedient and once you went through the healing process, then he'll tell you because he knows that sometimes if he show you something too soon, it's going to be like, ain't nowhere in the world, find somebody else to do it. So if you're in that season and God is stripping you, God is really freeing you because half the time we be in bondage to things and people and don't even realize it. So if he says leave and there's no but behind it, I'm sorry, well, it'll be a but from you. But if he says leave and then there's no answer, there's no insight into what's going to happen when you leave, you got to trust him. You got to take the step. You got to take the step. So you're going to either allow him to do it now or it's going to affect you more when you get to where you're going. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.